All right, we have a very special guest on the line today. It's Dr. Eric Plasker. He's a 1985 graduate of Life University, and he's been in practice chiropractic for over 30 years. He and his team have helped tens of thousands of patients from all over the world improve their health and quality of life through chiropractic care and the 100-year lifestyle. He is an international best-selling author of the 100-year lifestyle, the 100-year lifestyle workout, and the 100-year lifestyle second edition. He has been busy. Dr. Plasker believes that everyone deserves to be healthy from the time they are born through their last breath of life. And this includes you. You are in for a treat today. All right, welcome, Dr. Eric Plasker. Hey, tell us a little bit about who you are, married, kids, and what do you like to do for fun? What gets you up in the morning?
Oh man, married and kids, are you kidding me? Absolutely, very happily. I'm happy to say next week actually is our 32nd anniversary.
Wow.
My wife Lisa and I have raised 3 kids healthy through a consciousness of, we're going to talk about it today, of healthy living, 100-year lifestyle way. 2 out of 3 born at home, growing up vitalistically, taking care, naturally immunized and functioning at very high levels. Now my oldest is 30. He's getting married in a couple of months. So excited about him doing that. All 3 of my kids decided to become chiropractors. And I'm pinching myself, honestly, at 57 years old. No drugs, no medications, healthier than I've ever been in my life, getting younger every day. And we're teaching the world to do the same thing. And it's not about me, as you know, it's about making a difference for all these beautiful people that are listening.
Amen. And you know, we are in for a treat today. You have some expertise. I love what you just opened with. Healthy kids, healthy family, no drugs, 57-year-old without medication. And this is unheard of in Pittsburgh. And you know, we want to transform Pittsburgh. We want this to transform the world. The information you're going to share on the 100-year lifestyle, I think we're going to dive deep into, and we're going to come up with some solutions that we can live. We can be in our 50s without drugs. You are, myself, I don't take any medications, 5 kids without any medications as well. So we're on the same page. So let's tell us a little bit about your journey. You graduated Life University, same school I went to. We consider that the best, in 1985. And here, it's been a few years. So
1 or 2 or 3 or 35.
And let's not spend too much time, but let's, share with the listeners your journey from when you graduated to where you are now.
Well, it's interesting. I'm going to actually go back a little bit before that, because I think it will make a difference for everybody. When I was 15 years old, I was put in a position to make a choice. Like many of us who are listening, we have circumstances that happen to us where we are put in position to choose. And at the time, I didn't realize I was put in a position to choose. I was a 15-year-old kid. I hurt myself playing football. I went to the hospital. They took me there. I don't remember this. This is what they told me. Went to the hospital, saw the greatest doctor that was in the emergency room in our area, the top hospital. And they looked at my mom, they look at me, and they say, hey, you 15-year-old Afro-headed dude, take these pills and don't play for 30 days. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Mom, listen, I want to play. I want to play. I'll do anything to play. And so the next day, I went to visit a chiropractor, Dr. Ernie Landy, became my mentor. He adjusted me, and I played that afternoon without any pain. And I look back on that, Dr. Aaron, and recently I've been dwelling on this because of the opioid crisis and all these things that are happening that are causing people to commit suicide at record numbers, people becoming addicts who did not plan on becoming addicts. And I think back to that day, I just got to chill up my spine. That was an opioid derivative drug that he offered me. And I could have become an opioid addict that day. And fortunately for me, because this is not what the doctor said, but what I heard the doctor say was, pills equal don't play. Mm-hmm. And because I heard that pills equal don't play, I wanted to play, and I made the choice to try to do anything, find any answer. Ended up going to a chiropractor, changed my life forever, decided that day that I was going to be a chiropractor, and I quickly learned from my mentor, Dr. Landy, that it was not just about crisis care. It was about lifestyle care. It was about performance-based care. Went to life, became a chiropractor, started seeing all kinds of kids and families. And it was like, wow, we could actually duplicate this through the care that we're providing. We could duplicate that model for people where they could live active, healthy, drug-free lives. We had kids that aren't ear, just like you in your practice, just like doctors that we work with, our 100-Year Lifestyle affiliate chiropractors around the world, and other providers that we work with, what they're realizing. People are realizing that drugs are not the only answer, that you could live a life healthy and drug-free. It is not borrowed time to live a long, healthy, drug-free life. It is birthright time if we make the choices, these choices that you and I are talking about all along the way. So it just got exciting, more exciting every day that I went to work helping people, and it became a passion for me to teach the world how to do this.
I love it. And I share very similar story, but right now, I just looked this up the other day in Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh and UPMC Medical Center was granted a $32 million grant to help fight the opioid crisis. $32 million. Now, I looked at that and I laughed and I said, give me $1 million of that, keep the other 31 and I'll solve your problem. And yeah. I'd like more, but we're going to dive into that. And I think the biggest thing, the challenges that you were faced with, and thank God that you found Dr. Landy. He was an amazing chiropractor. We need choices. We need choices. And we're going to talk about that today and dive deep. So the people listening are going to realize, hey, there's a different answer, in our opinion, a better answer. So here you are, you're at life, you're out of practice, you're growing a practice. Let's kind of fast forward now. You've been out for quite a while. The 100-Year Lifestyle, the creation of an amazing book that's gone internationally, and the workbooks and the 100-year second year edition. So you've been a busy guy.
Yeah.
What's behind that? Why did you want to do that?
Well, what was interesting is about 5 or 6 years into my practice, again, seeing kids, families, athletes of all ages, shapes, and sizes, all of a sudden one day this 100-year-old man or this 98-year-old man walks into my office, crippled, broke, and alone. And I'm not going to tell you the whole story here because it's a longer story. If you want that story, go to the 100-Year Lifestyle YouTube channel. You can get there directly, or go to 100yearlifestyle.com and then click there to go to the YouTube channel. But this man, Max, came into my office, crippled, broken, alone at 98 years old, asked me, Dr. Plasker, can you help me? I said, I have no idea. I had never even seen a 98-year-old man before at the time. I had no idea what a 98-year-old man was supposed to look like, but Max looked like every one of those years. And I said, you know what, Max, I don't know, but let's give it a shot. You're alive, you're breathing, let's give it a shot. Well, I start working on him, and 3 months goes by, and this guy has got his life back at 98 years old. I'm like, wow, I've hit myself over the head. Babies, kids, families, and now a 98-year-old guy. And so I got very super duper excited. Max came for a year, never missed an appointment, was doing amazing, then all of a sudden disappeared. We wondered what happened to him. We tried to track him down. We figured at 99 he had passed away. And so we said a little prayer for Max, go about our business. Another year goes by. Max comes back without an appointment one day, literally just walked in the door, looked like a man who was ready to go, and came. This is a preview. I'm going to tell you the end because I went a little too far. So here you go. You got a treat, but you should listen to the whole story. It's amazing. And he says, thank you, Dr. Plasker, thank you, and died in my arms. And called 911, tried to revive him. Ambulance came, took him away, never to be heard from again. And I started to ask this question. Wow, if Max had known that he was going to live to be 100 when he was 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, or even 80 years old, how would he have lived his life differently if he didn't get there, so that he didn't get there crippled, broken, alone? And that's when I started to do the research. And it took me, 10, 15 years to kind of process all of this. And it was born as the 100-Year Lifestyle, because I got passionate about, why in some countries are they living better longer than in the United States? Why is it that people think that they're supposed to rot away and decay and deteriorate when in other places, in other countries, they're actually living active, healthy, quality lives? What are the things that we're doing in our country that we see some people are living active, engaged in life, in community, healthy, vital, energetic to 90, 80, 90, 100 years and beyond. And some people think they're old at 30. And I learned about the mindset, the philosophies, the choices that people make that are different, the habit patterns that people have, how people think about disease, how people think about diet, nutrition, fitness, the understanding of the nervous system and posture and the important role that plays in quality of life as you age, and the artificial immunity versus natural immunity, and so many things that I just documented it all in the 100-Year Lifestyle, put it out as a book. It became an international bestseller. It's been translated in languages all over the world, and it created a movement. And so here now we have this epicenter of a movement in our practice here. And like you said, humbly serving humanity with this vision, where we have the first edition of the 100-Year Lifestyle. Then there's the second edition, the workout book. And now we have 100yearlifestyle.com, which is a free online magazine that you can go to get tremendous content to guide you in your thought processes. We update it regularly, and there's great information on there. We should talk about some of it because it's relevant to what's happening right now with this whole COVID-19 thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I pray that, as people listen to this, they hear 100 years. I'm sure when you talk to your patients, myself too, I tell my patients, look, God in the Bible says we can get 120. I'm getting 120. And they look at me and they said, I don't even want 100, doc. I'm like, why not? Why not get there? Because they're hurting and broken. We're rebuilding their body. And I tell them, look, you can get there healthy. You don't have to be crawling into your grave for the last 20 years, crippled and broken and hurting and drugged up. So when we look at this, and maybe I think first we have to look and see, where is the problem? If we understand a problem, then we can start to solve it. And folks, if you haven't read the 100-Year Lifestyle book in the workbook, get it. You'll get a problem solving book with solutions and everything in between for lifestyle choices. It's not just a one shot thing. And I think in our society, we say, well, I eat better, or I just go to the chiropractor, or I exercise like mad. We can't just do that. We have to put it all together. So a problem, where do you view this problem that we can look and say, wow, maybe I have a problem. And if we identify the problem, we can start solving it.
Yeah, no question. And I think a lot of it starts with vision. We have a skewed view of aging. We have a skewed view of longevity. We look at, in my area, in Marietta, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, just like in Pittsburgh. And I love Pittsburgh. I love the surrounding areas. Been there many times. I did seminars in Pittsburgh. I think that's where we met for the association there. That may have been one of the first places that we met. And we look around and we see assisted living centers popping up on every corner. And we think that that's normal. It's not normal. That's not what's happening in other countries. It's an example, though, that people are living longer than ever, whether they like it or not, Dr. Aaron. That's the big thing. So the question is that how do we get there in style with health and vitality instead of rot away? We look at these people that are beautiful people, beautiful souls, wisdom, trapped in these bodies and minds that can't function, and we think that that's normal aging. That is not normal aging. You travel to other countries where I was in Iceland, for example. My wife and I went there about a year and a half ago. Beautiful country. And Iceland is colder than Pittsburgh in the winter, much colder. It's freezing over there. And people live longer in Iceland than they do in the United States. And they have no organic food, as an example. And people say, what do you mean they have no organic food? How could that be? Well, here's why. It's all food. So they don't have to label it organic. People are engaged in life. They make posture a priority. They work until later on. There's community there. All these things that we talk about in the 100-Year Lifestyle. And they are not a drug culture. They are not a drug culture. I remember like the last week, we were there for 10 days. Like after 7 days, I said to Lisa, we were in Reykjavik, which is the main capital there. And I said, you know what, I'm going for a walk. She's like, where are you going? I said, I'm going to go looking for a drugstore. She's like, why? You don't take drugs. I said, exactly, but I haven't seen a drugstore in this entire country, this country where people are living longer. And so I'm walking all around in the city and I can't find one. I can't find one. Finally, after 20 minutes up and down the streets, there's like one tiny little drugstore. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is another big reason why people are living longer than ever, because people are honoring the innate intelligence of their body. They are living off the land. They're doing things to keep themselves healthy. I know a lot of great chiropractors out there that are helping people keep their posture aligned and balanced, their nervous system functioning properly. And that is the norm of how they live. They don't treat symptoms like living from crisis to crisis to crisis. We did a video with, everybody should watch this video. I interviewed an MIT PhD, Dr. Shiva. He's a PhD in biological engineering. And it's an amazing video. We talked a little bit about the immune system. And he said, and it's great the way he describes it. He talks about the relationship between the nervous system and the immune system. And he said, you know, back in the old days where he came from, people would get chicken pox, or they'd get a virus, and they would literally take the sputum and they would give it to everybody so that everybody would become immune. And now we're socially isolating. And in places like where he grew up, where there was poverty, people were still more immune than people are here in the United States, because we are approaching immunity incorrectly. We are not honoring the body's natural ability to become immune and become healthier. And I think that the philosophy of that and the science of that is so important to understand. And you and I know as chiropractors, you know, my kids were blessed. They were healthier than every other kid. Other kids were getting sick, missing school. Our kids got mad at us because they never could miss school because they were always healthy. And so we want to raise families this way, not just in Pittsburgh, but all around the country. And it starts with a long-term vision, knowing that 100 years is birthright time. It is not borrowed time. And if you do the right things, you will get there in style with health and vitality rather than rot away.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, when you said about aging, you know, it's so common to see this. A saying we always say in our office is, it's common to have headaches every day. It's common to have arthritis. It's common to take drugs, but it's not normal. This is not normal lifestyle. Yeah. And if we don't get that viewpoint, it first comes like what you just said, from the mind. If you get a viewpoint of, I may be able to be healthy, I should be healthy, help me find somebody to walk me through this journey. If we don't get that viewpoint, and we are being brainwashed from birth that we're sick, we have a symptom, take a drug. I was too. And I remember that post on Iceland when you said you were walking down the streets looking for food, and you said, where's the organic food? And they kind of looked at, it's food. I laughed. I told all my patients that. I said, we should be living this way, just living normal. So what is the solution? You know, you have the book, and maybe you could hit on the highlights, because I would encourage, and we're going to have this post, we're going to have all your links posted so you can go and get this book. You have to get this book. If you want to live to 80, if you want to live 60 healthy, get it now. I'm telling you, you apply the principles, it will work. I'm 54. I still play rugby, and we don't have an old guys team up here. We have a 20 and 30-year-old team. They look at me, they call me Gramps. I'm like, well, Gramps is going to kick your butt. Because Grandpa can still do it. 54 isn't old. So what, from your book and from all your research and life that you have lived and you've seen, where's the solution?
Well, listen, the global solution obviously is we need to look at the world differently, and the 100-Year Lifestyle paints a picture of how to do that. And for you individually, it starts with choices. If you go through this, the book is a progression of change. It's really, people have nicknamed me a change master, a catalyst, because we have helped people all over the world change their lives, and you can do it. If you're listening to this, if you're still on this call and we haven't scared you away by now, you can do it. And what I encourage you, if you want to get the book, and we keep all the information fresh on 100yearlifestyle.com. the thing is that you've got to be honest with yourself. One of the articles on 100yearlifestyle.com, we talk about watching yourself like you're watching a movie. And be honest with yourself about the things that you need to change. Not be in denial about it, not be an ostrich. There are 3 life-changing principles there. We talk about them. Change is easy. Thinking about change is hard. Change comes one choice at a time. Think progress, not perfection. And if you're going to make a change with a compelling long-term vision in mind. And this is really the core foundation of the book, and then changing your habit patterns. Because, for example, and this happened just the other day, maybe it was yesterday. In fact, it did happen yesterday in our practice. I had a woman come in, she lay down on the table, she has changed her life, she's standing up straighter, her posture is better, her pains are gone, she's not on any medication anymore, she's lost 80 pounds, she's been doing amazing since she started getting adjusted, getting chiropractic care. Well, she gets on the table, she gets an adjustment, she's now under lifestyle care, she's gone from that crisis care to lifestyle care. She gets adjusted, she gets up, and she breaks out crying. She said, I was like, oh my God, Lori, what is going on? What is the matter? She said, oh my God, Dr. Plasker. She said, my son, his friend, just committed suicide. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry to hear it. I said, that is heartbreaking. I gave her a hug. And I said, was he on medication? Was he depressed? She said, yes, both of those things. And she said, here's the thing, Dr. Plasker. It's the 3rd friend in the last few months. It ripped my heart out, Aaron, I'm telling you. And I started to think to myself, we have an addicted world. And one of the things we talk about in the 100-Year Lifestyle, we talk about habit patterns that optimize your energy. There are articles on this on 100yearlifestyle.com. If you don't want to buy the book, just go there and you can start with these articles. And one of them is destructive patterns. The 5 patterns are destructive patterns, survival patterns, complacency patterns, comfort patterns, and human potential patterns. And that destructive patterns, these are addictions. There are so many of us that have addictions, and we know we're addicted. We want to stop, but we don't know how to stop, and we look for something on the outside, a chemical or something like that to help us stop, but that's part of the addiction. We need to watch ourselves like we're watching a movie, be honest with ourselves, and battle the demons to literally take control of our minds and master our minds to make changes that will support us from wherever we are, from whether it's a destructive pattern, a survival pattern, comfort, complacency, to make choices individually that help us to live our own human potential pattern. That's what the 100-Year Lifestyle is. And these are things that nobody can do for you. You have to be willing to make these choices and fight for yourself. Because if you're willing to fight for yourself, you will attract people into your life like Dr. Aaron, like myself, like our other 100-Year Lifestyle doctors around the country and around the world. And these are things that you have to be willing to do for yourself. And you and I talk about it in chiropractic a lot. We have these principles: above, down, inside, out. That you think these thoughts, it comes from above, down, and inside out. And you make these choices that hopefully are good for you for the long haul. And you know that if you're not making choices that are good for you, this is a thing that I ask in a lot of our events and seminars, and even in our podcast. You all should, after you listen to this podcast and all of Aaron's other podcasts, check out 100-Year Lifestyle podcast. We do a lot on making these choices and changes. And what you realize is that there is no shortcut to this. There is no shortcut. People say, what's the shortcut? And you may have to make these, you watch yourself like you're watching a movie, you may have to make these stop, choice, change maneuvers 1,000 times a day if you're an addict. And then it becomes 100 a day, and then it's 10 a day, and then it's 1 a day, and then it's 1 a week. And then the next thing you know, 3 months, 6 months, a year goes by, and you are living the most amazing life, your ideal 100-year lifestyle. And here's the thing. People that are 100 years old today, which is one of the world's fastest growing group, which, by the way, now they've survived wars, World War I, World War II, flu outbreaks, epidemics, multiple pandemics, including you surviving COVID-19 and this pandemic because you're listening. You've survived. So now what are you going to do with the fact that you're still here? Change your life, make these choices, make these changes, get this compelling vision, and organize your life around it. And people like Dr. Aaron, like myself, that are already doing it, become the new leaders in your life to support you in living the kind of life that really will support you in enjoying a quality 80, 90, 100 years and beyond, and raising a family this way.
Absolutely. I love it. And Dr. Carolyn Leaf talks about habits and how we create a habit. It takes about 21 days to kind of break our neurology, break our physiology, and it takes about 63 days for it to be locked in. And one thing you said is one choice at a time. Folks, when you're listening to this and when you get Dr. Plasker's book and you read, I would say study it. Don't just read through, put it on the shelf, study it, find a habit that you need to change and implement it for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 days, and then choose a new habit. If you do this over a year or 5 years, your lifestyle is going to be completely transformed. And people always say to me, Dr. Eric, they say, oh, you love working out and playing rugby. And I said, I really don't love working out. It hurts. I hurt every day. I worked out this morning. It's not fun, but I love how I feel. I love being healthy. I love playing sports with my kids and running with a 18 or 20-year-old on the rugby field and still being able to perform. I love how that feels and knowing that I can continue doing something. I don't think I'll play rugby for the next 20 or 30 years. Unless we get some old guys team, I'll continue. But like Dr. Eric said, we've got to be connected to resources. Dr. Plasker's book, his podcast, this podcast, you got to start listening and learning and use as an education, not as a media blast that it's a cute little thing for the day, but it's a learning experience. And the only way you're going to develop and changes is implementation, action. So let's talk about a couple action steps before we wrap things up. What 3 action steps, 3 things that people listening to say, you know what, I want to leave here today and I want to start working towards a 100-year lifestyle healthy. What do you think those would be?
Great. So if you send us an email to support@100yearlifestyle.com, we will send you tools that for free that go along with what you're asking for. Just ask for life-changing tools in the subject and we'll send them to you. And so here's the thing. Identify the things that you know you need to change. Everybody has them. And here's a really good series of questions. You probably know that you need to make some changes. One question is how long have you known that you need to make these changes? Has it been a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, or more? And for most people, believe it or not, it's a year, a decade, or more. And so the next question becomes, is not making the changes that you know you need to make, not the changes I want you to make or Dr. Aaron wants you to make, the changes that you already know that you need to make. Are not making those changes causing you some level of suffering? The answer is probably yes. And the next question becomes, or really it's a statement, there's only one thing worse than suffering, and that's perpetual suffering. So know that not making the changes that you need to make is causing suffering, and the suffering will go on until you change. So identify these changes and then make the priority list and then watch yourself like you're watching a movie and make changes on the fly every day, reviewing that list. Then the next thing, and by the way, there is a podcast on that, on 100-Year Lifestyle Podcast. It's on the 3 life-changing principles. The next thing is create an affirmation for yourself around the new you so that you reinforce it every day. There's also a podcast we did on this. It's called Personal Affirmation Creator. And it takes you through an exercise to create an affirmation where you redefine yourself based on the new choices and the new life that you want to begin to live. And so you make those changes, you affirm those changes, and then you make this your new lifestyle. And if you do that, the resources, it's like, oh man, I don't know what to find. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. All of a sudden, the world starts to change. The world starts to look different for you. The food, bad food, stops talking to you. The bad calories, the addictions, they stop talking to you. They stop having control over your life. You find support that you never even knew existed. So much support that is available for you with this new life that you want to live. So these are things to do. And what is just as important, as you know, Dr. Aaron, is the things that you should not do. For example, you start to look at, I was talking to hadn't talked to him in a long time, one of my best friends growing up in high school. And he was telling me about his wife who had been basically bedridden for 10 years, my age, bedridden for 10 years, because she went to the doctor, the medical doctor, got a drug, created side effects, she got another drug, created more side effects, she got another drug, blamed it on the disease, the rheumatoid arthritis, the lupus, gave it a name, a fancy name. A decade goes on, Dr. Aaron, a decade of her life. Oh, don't bother your mother, kids, because she's not feeling well. She can't get out of bed. Took 10 years of her life away from her. Breaks my heart. She's changing her life. She's now eating healthier. She's taking some supplements. She's not going to that doctor anymore, who gave her all kinds of shots, all kinds of drugs, all getting adjusted now, taking care of her spine, taking care of her nervous system, her posture. And she goes back and she says, doctor, to her old medical doctor, she says, look, I'm feeling so much better. I'm moving. And he's like, and I'm paraphrasing, wow, okay, want a flu shot? And she was like, I'm done with you. And it gets to the point where you got to be done with the things that are not working. You got to be willing to make some changes. And she made some changes, and now she's 57 years old, and she's healthier than she's been in the last 20 years. She's younger now, living her 100-year lifestyle than she was 20 years ago, even though she's 20 years older. And you could do that. Come on, everybody on the line, you can do that. You just got to be willing to make some changes. Age, stop blaming your health, how you feel, your pain, your stress level. Stop blaming age. It is not age's fault. You make these changes, get that long-term vision, all of a sudden the world looks different and you're going to like it a lot, as we say.
You just dropped a huge bomb, and the don't do the things that aren't working. We have to, when you identify that and you say, that's not working, you have to stop. And the only way you stop is first by declaring, like you were saying, the affirmation, creating an affirmation, declaring, I'm done. I am not going to do this. And I tell my patients, I say, if I ask them, because they'll complain, I can't work out. I'm addicted to sugar. I like this. I can't stop. All these stupid excuses. And I say, listen, if I had a thing of cocaine here, would you take it? And they look at me, I wouldn't take that. I said, because you've declared to yourself, that's gone too far. You drew a line in the sand and you said, I'll never do that. You couldn't make me do that. And I've declared that. And so we have to start making these declarations. Like you just said, it ain't working. Yeah. Don't do it anymore. And it's not going to happen overnight, but you have to first spew it out of your lips. And that starts to get into your mind and into your subconscious. So when you go to take a bite of that donut or that garbage or sit on the couch, it speaks to you and it says, get your lazy butt up and go for a walk. And if you keep declaring it, you can't help but get up and start implementing an action plan. That was awesome. And if folks, if you listen to this and you pick up Dr. Plasker's energy, all you have to do is just start moving in that direction and declare it today. I would encourage everyone listening, declare something right now out loud. If your windows are down and the people can hear you, who cares? Put them up and scream it out. I am done with being lazy. I am going to start exercising today. I love it, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to add one other thing. I can relate to everybody. I mean, I'm a sugar addict. You brought up being a sugar. I am a sugar addict. I like, especially my wife is an amazing baker. And There was a time back in 2002, 18 years ago, I was 60 pounds heavier than I am now.
Mm.
And people will say to me, Dr. Plasker, wow, you really lost a lot of weight. And I say, no. I haven't lost anything. It was never mine. It was never mine. Don't take ownership of your diseases or this extra weight as if they're yours. It's not like my weight, my disease. Do not take ownership of it mentally. Let it go. And then start to make these changes. And I love this saying. This is right out of the 100-Year Lifestyle. It's in a lot of our articles. And then learn to love the things that are good for you. People look at, my wife is a great example. She reminds me of this. She has obesity that runs in her family. And she's lean and healthy, and she's in great shape at 59. And people will say to her, they'll say, you know, Lisa, you're lucky you're thin. And here's what she says. No, I am not lucky. She says, thin is a choice for me. I have obesity in my family. Thin is a choice for me. We did a podcast interview with one of our 100-Year Lifestyle affiliate chiropractors down in South Carolina, Dr. Adam and Jamie Coxon, because people come up to her and they'll say to her all the time, you're lucky that your kids are so healthy and don't need medication. You're lucky that your family is so healthy. And she said, no, we are not just lucky. It's the title of the podcast. We are not just lucky. We are not just lucky. There's an article on 100yearlifestyle.com. We are not just lucky. We make choices and our choices have us luckier than so many other people because our choices are healthier choices. So stop looking at people that are healthy and thinking that they're just blessed. They're blessed for the consciousness of what we are talking about on this call, and they have chosen to change their life and make these choices that Dr. Aaron and I have just discussed with you.
Another value bomb, man. The ownership thing, it drives me nuts. My hair in the back of my neck raises when everyone says, yeah, but you don't understand. I have diabetes. I am chronic sick. You know, I have chronic sickness. I have this. I'm like, stop it. You don't have it. That's why you have it. And when my kids at home, when they would say, I can't blah, 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 do something. I'm like, don't say that. We don't say that in a trustful household. There's no can't. Don't be saying can't.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it starts with a mindset. And folks, listen to this podcast, re-listen to it. I'll have all the resources to Dr. Plasker. Go to his podcast, start studying it. This will add the years back to your life and give you the 100 years or whatever you can extract every ounce of energy out of your life to live that life for you, your family. And that's why God put us here on this earth. So I love your energy and just your service, because we want to keep this going so we can start changing the world. So we all look at this as a 100-year lifestyle, man. I just absolutely love it. Well, let's wrap this up with a couple fun questions. Any crazy fun plans you have in the future?
You know, my oldest son is getting married. I'm super excited about that. They just bought a house. They live out in Oregon. We spend a lot of time out there. So for me, I'm a simple guy. I love my family. I love my work. And to be around, I love my friends. I'm serving a purpose I feel like was given to me that is such a blessing. So to be able to communicate with your community and change lives in your community, I mean, that's really fun for me. From a hobby perspective, I love to cook with my family. I like fine wine, and I love to snow ski. I love to hike and be outside. If I can do that in different parts of the world, then it's a great vacation for me. So, you know, it's finding that balance like we talk about in the 100-year lifestyle of prime time, prep time, and playtime, and just living that every day, making conscious choices. And it starts with being healthy, because when you're healthy, the level of choices that you have skyrockets. And so pursue your passions. I know for me, it's a blessing. I just opened expanded a practice with my youngest son joining me in my practice here. And so, you know, I just feel like a kid in a candy store every day, although I don't eat candy anymore because of the sugar. but it's really, it's just, it's a dream. And one thing I would say is we have an expression in the 100-Year Lifestyle too. It's a good closing thought if you want, that as time goes on, you get wisdom. And I have an acronym for wisdom. And the acronym goes like this: when innate, so it's WISDOM, wisdom. When innate steadfastly drives our mission, we get wisdom. And what is exciting for you, if you find yourself in this podcast and you find yourself in the 100-Year Lifestyle, or the information that we're putting out, and you stick with it long enough, you will get wisdom, real wisdom that you can count on and trust, that will be just such an exciting opportunity that it will bring to your life, giving you confidence, vitality, energy, love, passion, that is right around the corner if you'll just get started on a path like this. So that's fun for me. I don't know if it's fun for you, Dr. Aaron.
That is awesome. You know, what a way to wrap it up. You ended that beautifully. I couldn't have said it any better. And you know what? I thank you so much. And I thank you for helping not just Pittsburgh, but we want this to go global, to helping the world. And that's what you're doing. God bless you. Thanks. And keep up the amazing journey that you're on.
You too, my man. Count on it.